All right, thank you all so much for joining this planning call. Everyone loves planning, and we are the special group who's involved in these particular types of activities. It feels like a whole bunch of stuff has happened since last week. Eric, I think right on the weekend you kicked off some visual uh, explorations for the Designathon. Jason put together a super thorough plan for the Accessibility Day, and there were just lots of other various things happening in the background. Should we briefly catch up on those things, or should we just kind of go through event by event?
Maybe event by event, because the catch up things are about each event,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise we might end up going like this.
Okay. So the big focus is probably still on the Designathon, but it might be good if we cover the other things real quick first.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Mo, you put together an initial outline for Presidio, right?
I did.
But are you willing to share that yet, or is it just kind of
Yes,
a rough
absolutely.
idea?
Let me grab that.
So you're basically, it's still kind of in idea stage, and you're trying to like put together a little bit more of an outline of what this thing could be, and then we just want to get a little bit more buy-in from people, and that's where we are at this moment.
So I'll do a quick screen share. I'm not expecting to talk longer than 5 minutes about this, because this is the event that's the furthest away. Very quick screen share. We've kind of promised the folks over at the people who are sharing the space, providing the space for us to do the event. We kind of promised them we'd have something rough by tomorrow. So I felt a little bit pressured to get something going that looks a little bit more. Now, all I did was, as I took all of the comments from the GitHub issue, and I basically put it into AI, and I asked AI, what are the main themes and threads that are coming out of this? And then I basically then got some ideas from that, and then I humanized it. So I wrote a little bit of an introduction text. I wrote that some of the goals would be getting designers and developers together. Some other tangible outcomes could be design sprints, showcasing the Bitcoin Design Guide. We have a tentative date confirmed for the 15th to the 21st. Is everyone familiar with the Presidio space at all? It's completely new in San Francisco. Okay, let's see.
PresidioBitcoin.org.
And that's in San Francisco. So this is the website. Yeah, there you go. So that's actually the website they put together. It's fairly new. So one of the ideas would be to kind of think about the capacity of the event space, because that is going to limit us to the number of people that we invite. The format would be something of a semi-structured program, which would be workshops, presentations, collaborative sessions, and also allowing for socializing. I added a maximum capacity of 50 people because it says on the website that their main event room is 50, but that's to be confirmed. So it's just kind of trying to bring all the ideas together. And then I wrote a bunch of to-dos, such as logistics. There's probably a lot of things that I've missed over here. Make a list of developers, invite them, make a list of designers, invite them, create a one-pager inviting people to attend the event. Doesn't need to be very big, because if it's capped at 50, then it's not really, And then workshop ideas would be, a 3 to 5 day structured workshop, knowledge sharing, problem space exploration, forming teams, and then sprinting towards a goal. And I just threw some topic ideas in here of what some other people also mentioned in GitHub. Some tangible outcomes could be like working prototypes, and then case studies for the Bitcoin design side, non-tangible, relationships. And then I just put in another idea, which is more like a Silicon Valley challenge, which is more very, very design focused. So if any of you want to hop into that document, I will go ahead and share it. No need to, if you want to just drop some comments in there, I'll also add it to the GitHub issue. So that's it from the Presidio side. It's nothing's confirmed in stone, but we had to get something going because, you know, the people who are providing us, very kindly providing us with the event space, want to see something a bit more tangible put together. So I'll share that in the channel as well, and just mention that we're putting that together. So feel free to comment and do as you wish. That's it.
Awesome.
Nice. Yeah, good initiative on this.
Yeah, I felt some pressure. I often commit to things and I don't realize that it requires time, but I managed to put this together. I see, just like Jason. Jason, we have something in common.
Putting things out there, big visions. I'm not quite sure what we're committing to. But
There we
that's how we roll.
That's how we roll.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, everyone, you know, please chip in and help shape this whole thing. Okay, next one. Next furthest away is BTC Prague. So Michael is kind of the point person there. I think he's actually sick right now. I just went into the document a little bit earlier and tried to brainstorm a bit around. I put in the previous agendas here because I think the room we kind of know. We know the room. We know we can get the same furniture. We have the setup nailed. It's really figuring out this agenda, meaning who shows up, what type of topics would we like to talk about, and particularly the afternoon sessions. So I put in stuff like maybe we can have a debate where people debate things and the audience votes. It's like we can debate like, Eric, is eCash good or bad for Bitcoin? I don't know, or just various things. So I think if you have thoughts about a good topic that would be good to have a presentation on around UX, it is a hack day, so it can very much be hacky. It doesn't have to be some super polished whatever thing. It could be something small and detailed, or so there's all kinds of stuff that we could do talks on, and then we would just have to find people and lure them in. I think that's kind of the main thing there. Yeah. So please also feel free to add stuff to this document.
All right, let me also just add that as BTC Prague Hack Day. Okay.
I've been design vibing my whole career. I don't know what people are talking about. Vibe designing.
Speed testing. There's some fun ideas here. We had a lot of fun last year in Prague.
Yeah, the trick is really the afternoon program because people are just kind of tired. So something like a bar camp or unconference or something really interactive, or we set up 4 testing tables and people can go by and do user testing, or just something interactive. Mm-hmm. So that's hands-on. I think might be good. But yeah, well, that was, if we can nail that this year, I think it'll be a good place.
If we can nail the afternoon slot, I think, for BTC Prague, so that people are not sleeping, that would be like amazing, because we really noticed an afternoon dip with people.
Yeah, there were 2 things. For one, there was a bunch of legendary Bitcoin people in the ecosystem had a talk. Everyone left, and then no one came back. Because afterwards, I don't know where people went to.
And another thing for BTC Prague, remember I just grabbed this piece of white paper and I started drawing on it and I made this put together sign in like 2 minutes, because I wanted to point we should definitely do a printed sign this year, like A3. Let me add that to the document.
That's a big signage where we almost kind of block the way so people don't go into other rooms.
Exactly. Is there a to-do here? Let's see. No, okay.
And Eric, maybe it's something you can think about. Or so I put in an idea like, let's say every speaker shows their Nostr profile and the audience can zap them or eCache them or whatever during the talk.
Nice.
And then we could have a Nostr bot pick up those zaps and award them badges or something like that, but only during the talk time. So maybe there's some interactive thing that really takes advantage of all the different layers and technologies.
Yeah, that could be fun. There's like the Zapper thing. I can build on that idea in some comments.
Yeah, be cool. So yeah, this is I think this is a little bit in discovery still. This event, and then we can. Okay. Then we had Oslo Freedom Forum. I think I don't think there's a huge amount of this to discuss, but Mo, you're basically organizing user interview sessions there with activists, and then afterwards that information will be summarized, anonymized,
Yeah, there's not
and
much to
shared.
discuss.
I was actually wondering if Prague is after Oslo Freedom Forum. Maybe that could be a presentation in Prague.
Yeah, that's a good one. And if I'm not able to attend in person, I will do it remotely. I'm happy to do remotely, or you can do it, or we can
Yeah.
do it together. But I think that would be a really good opportunity to present the research. Good idea. It's basically we've put together a research plan. We're going to be conducting jobs to be done, interviews with activists. They're happy with the plan. They haven't made any suggestions. We're just coordinating logistics right now, trying to figure out where we get a room, and that's pretty much it. But if any of you are going to be at the Oslo Freedom Forum and want to help out with usability tests, I'm happy to put anyone in contact with or the White Noise team or the Dana Wallet team, because they're looking to do some usability tests. Yeah, that's pretty much it from Oslo Freedom Forum side.
Cool. And then we have the Designathon accessibility BTC++ ABDC combo mashup of everything. So there's the most activity going on.
Lots of opportunities there. Not sure we'll get through all of them, but wanted to put them out there just in case.
Yeah. So do we want to start from the top? Eric, what did you do and what would you like to do next?
Yeah, so I started throwing some very early kind of marketing and social media like asset directions. Then what I saw was that you had a kind of separately for the website, you explore some different typefaces and different kind of themes and feels. So what I would like to do is kind of unify these two things, where the potential type styles and colors and art direction that we're currently jamming on for the official Designathon website could be more, the social media assets can go more in that direction. And I saw even further kind of in that Figma file, yeah, up there, those I think are really good, like starting points. So I'm happy to kind of, if we decide on a direction, this is the font, this is the theme, this is the feel, maybe start coming up with some assets that are shareable, different
Sounds
sizes,
perfect.
LinkedIn, Twitter,
Perfect.
Instagram Reels, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I love that direction, Eric, because we need to go crazy with the marketing because we don't
Yeah.
have Legends of Lightning.
Yeah. And the good thing is, even if we change this next week, those visuals, if we decide we hate them and we want to do something else, it's totally cool. No one cares.
No one cares. Like no one's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
notice that
It's gonna look different.
yeah.
So maybe we go with weird bubble bath stuff or
I really like it
ornamental
for
stuff. I don't know.
what it's worth.
And then Mo, you did some color exploration. I did a quick thing where I basically copied the previous site over and just started changing stuff a little bit. So I think
Amazing.
styling all these components here, they're mostly all the content is from previous years, from the previous one. Coming up with more unique styles that, this is kind of the old style here still. These things too. So Eric, yeah, if you want to own that and just kind of run with it and explore the direction, I am more than happy if you want to do that. You don't have to, but if you like to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with the direction. I took a stab at trying to update the site, and it was just a little bit more challenging than I thought. So
Yeah, don't worry about the code. I've got that
yeah.
covered. It's pretty straightforward. It's more the visual
Mm-hmm.
styling, because I think
I'm
the initial bubbles, that is very simple, right? There are almost no additional decorative elements or treatments that you can then easily, you apply throughout the site to kind of capture that feel.
Yep.
And making the whole site orange is also super annoying. So just figuring out maybe there's another element or something around it, or sort of maybe those little bubbles turn into popcorn or something else like that works throughout the site. I think and then that would also make it easier to apply to social media stuff. Yeah.
I like the direction as well. I'm happy with the design visual direction that we're going in. It feels very playful. Definitely agree to kind of make the. I mean, I just got that from Midjourney. I just got those colors from Midjourney, and I copied stuff over. But I agree that the Bitcoin Designathon 2025 issue just needs to have more high levels of contrast. But yeah.
Yeah, so I think it would be amazing if this was super accessible, this site. So we prefer high contrast mode. You can keyboard navigate everything. You can have it read out loud, whatever you want. If we kind of have the best practices baked in here.
Yeah.
I kind of think the direction we're taking with the hero section is pretty effective, especially if we're going to blend in what Mo did as well as what Christoph did earlier on. Like I was speaking about the switches, we could use that to consider accessibility, right? Or the different kind of users that would access the sites. And
Right.
even if we decide to keep the hero section, the main hero section orange, we could blend from orange into a much lighter color as you scroll downwards. I was trying to play with something like that lower on the same Figma file. So I don't know. I think that could work.
I think that makes sense. It's just like any book that you read, or if you look like at a poster for a concert or so, they're going crazy visually, right? Because it's like it just captures your attention. But if you actually read the book, the 400 pages, that is like very tight rules, good contrast, all about function. So the banner, yes, we can be a bit more playful, but when you get into reading things, right, let's make sure it's all really usable, good contrast, and especially for people who have operating system stuff enabled. There's a prefers reduced motion, so we could disable any animations for those people. There's the prefers contrast, we could beef that up for those people. There's probably some other stuff that we can then adjust for people who have those preferences. Text sizing, automatic following, OS settings, and some other stuff. And Jason can probably be the pro.
Yeah.
Oz, you're muted.
You pretty much nailed all the big issues there. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the gist of it.
Someday we can have an accessibility design-a-thon where it's all white on white text, and you have to use the keyboard and the screen reader to turn it around. Okay, so you're all welcome to, if you want to go in and finalize a visual style that then I will implement. Ideally, by Monday, I could update. So on the website right now, we basically just have this top banner that says like it's happening. Join Discord. If we can start sharing that next week, so if ideally by Monday, if you guys want to own that, finalizing the visuals, colors, whatever, and then just let me know what you want me to do, and I can implement that by Monday, and then we can start sharing it.
Okay.
Nice.
If you don't want me to, I can do it too, but just throwing things out there. Would you like to?
I'll take a look, just to make sure the contrast is all.
I mean, I think it's not going to take long to finalize that tomorrow in terms of the color direction. I mean, I don't know how many different colors we had last year.
3.
I don't know what's possible. Oh,
There are 3 different color combos, and I think each one consisted of 3 colors or something. But we can change it too. It doesn't have to be the same.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy.
Like the one that's here behind me, there you have all these different. Maybe those colors don't even need to change, but
yeah,
we have then this whole palette that we can use throughout the site. Maybe here it's just that the characters hover around a little bit. Maybe you press them and they pop, and a new one comes up or something. Where it's less about the palette, but it's about this feeling like balloons swimming in a pool or something like that.
Yeah, we can just vote. We can just put it. I'll just put a I'll just put a voting thing. We reach consensus here in Bitcoin. I'll just put a voting thing in the conference channel, like, hey, any one of these design directions, and then do you want to have like 3 different colors, and then we just make a decision, and Bob's your uncle.
Designed by committee.
Designed by committee, super fast. I'm definitely not pushing my design direction. I'll just put all of them and say, hey, let's vote 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you think we should have 3 variations? And Bob's your uncle.
I do not have an uncle named Bob, so it's not accurate. But I understand. Okay, how does that sound good? Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will commit
Sounds
to
cool.
posting that in the conference channel tomorrow for a decision. And
Okay.
then decision, whoever votes, it's part of the decision process. End of day Friday is the last moment to
Sounds
vote.
good.
Okay, so is anyone making more explorations, or are we going straight to vote and stuff?
I think straight to
What?
votes. I mean, we can
I think
start
we
remarking.
can go straight to vote.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, cool. Yeah, feel free just to chat and go back and forth as much as you want. Okay, cool. So that covers the visual direction. The website's basically set up. So next week we can start sharing it. Ideally, with that visual direction, we can also then, I would almost like today to already have some social media thing that basically says we're having this, like this one here,
Mm-hmm.
that says more to come, right? Where it's just like putting the idea out there and then following up next week, like, oh, we have a first version of the site. And that's just like a placeholder site still. And then maybe we follow up later in the week, like, oh, we just added some blurbs about things. So we just kind of keep trickling things out. And that will help us get a little bit of traction and attention and all that. So the schedule-wise, Jason, do you want to talk a little bit about your accessibility track document? You are muted.
How about now?
Awesome.
Yeah, so I just put together a document last night. So let me share my screen real quickly, and I'll walk through it real quick. Let's see here. All right, let me know if you cannot see that.
See it?
Okay, excellent. All right, so kind of just went through, used the format that you were using for the Designathon to kind of give a brief overview of some of the opportunities and reasons for having an accessibility track. There's 2 local Austin events that offer some good tie-in potential, at least for in-person tie-in to this virtual Designathon. One of them is Bitcoin Plus Plus, which is May 7th and 9th. And I've talked with Julie, who's helping organize that event, and she talked with the hackathon organizer, and they said that sounded like a good idea, actually. So there is some buy-in on their end. We just need to communicate and coordinate with the hackathon organizer. And Mo, I think you said that you've talked to that person in the past. So that's good. We also have the Austin Bitcoin Design Club on May 13th, which kind of falls in the middle of the Designathon. But this is a really good time for a live design critique session for any of the teams that may be looking for some feedback on their designs. So I'm not sure how many teams we had last year. We probably would need to keep this to like 1 to 3 teams. But I'm open to other ideas as well. Because usually there's about 45 minutes at the end of the ABBC meetup to do a live design crit, right? And usually it's like 1 or 2 websites or applications that we critique. Do you know how many submissions we had last year?
Oh, I don't know, 20 or so.
Right.
It was a good
Yeah.
amount, but not all of them ended up submitting something, and some of them, for some, it really only came to the last minute or so. So I think
Yeah.
the amount of teams that will be available already for a live review will be smaller.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, we would just need to put that out in advance, then just let folks know that there is limited seats for design crit. So if they want to get their design in, they just need to submit it early. Other than that, yeah, I mean, I can lead most of this, but I'm going to need some volunteers to help organize it, plan it, deliver some key components, such as the prizes and things like that. Kind of want to look at the why of accessibility, dive into that.
Sorry to interrupt you real quick. You're sharing the Bitcoin Designathon 2 document, not the accessibility document. Is that intentional?
Thank you. No, it's not. All right, let's try this one more time. Here we go. This would be the correct document.
Okay, that looks good.
Okay, cool. So I kind of went through this overview already. Some considerations we talked about, opportunities to explore. I want to really dive into the story of Hal Finney a little bit more and see if we can tie that into the accessibility track for this Designathon. I think it's a really, rich story. There's lots of inspiration there and for why, accessibility is important. Especially the fact that Hal Finney was using assistive technology to, work on Bitcoin and other security-related projects well after his ALS diagnosis. So, just the fact that he was able to code and able to contribute to projects with this technology, I think that goes a long way to helping designers and developers understand why it's so important. That, free open source money really needs to be accessible. I want to talk a little bit about the state of accessibility, discuss color contrast briefly, accessibility tools, voluntary accessibility standards. Those are some things that I really want to tie in. But as far as the timeline goes, I've kind of set this off for a kickoff presentation somewhere around May 4th or 5th. I think this would be a good opportunity to record something, a 5 to 10 minute recorded video or live, or we can do it live as well. But a 5 to 10 minute recorded video on the why of accessibility, some of those impact stories, some of the examples of past success stories from the accessibility implementation that this team has had, as well as other teams, some introduction to the tools, just a lot of really high level stuff with some detail in there and some resources for folks that may be interested in contributing accessibility to their project. So I really kind of if your interest and have a short 5 to 10 minute video that kind of explains why it's important. May 7th to 9th, BTC++ Hackathon. So yeah, we want to promote some accessibility prizes for hackathon projects, such as the best inclusive design. We can circulate an accessibility quick start guide with some resources and information for designers and developers that may be new to accessibility that want to dive a little bit deeper. And then I can hold impromptu office hour sessions during Bitcoin++, because I'll be going to that event. I actually took off work for that. So I think that'd be a good opportunity for me to, do some in-person feedback on projects, maybe do a little short 15, 20-minute presentation of a screen reader, things like that, right? And I also have some other folks that may be interested in contributing to this. I have a blind colleague who uses a screen reader who I reached out to recently and asked him if he'd be interested in helping with test anything, any Bitcoin wallets for accessibility. He was very interested in that. So, there may be an opportunity here for me to bring him in on a call, have him show, the tools that he uses, and maybe demonstrate a couple of different wallets and some of the issues that he faces there. Then we have the Austin Bitcoin Design Club crit on May 13th. So once, like I said, this is like 45 minutes. So we really only have time for 1 or 3 slots for design teams and projects.
Quick question on this one, and that's typically not live streamed, right? So only the people locally would be able to.
It is. Can be. Yeah, we've done live streams before where we've brought in design teams from around the globe and done the design crit live on the web.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
So I think that's a good crossover there. Yeah, so that's that. Global Accessibility Awareness Day. So this is a really good point to get this final push for accessibility for all the teams. Here's where we can host some more intensive workshops. I could probably do 1 or 2 workshops, but I just have a couple of ideas for different things that we might want to look at there. And the timing for that, might be a little bit difficult as well, just considering, that I'm in the U.S. and some folks are in Germany and other places, and also my current day job. So we can certainly work around that though, and I could come up with a couple of workshop ideas and further iterate on them for that. Other than that, yeah, got a couple of other ideas there. Designathon judging, so we would need some help with that. We have to come up with a criteria for accessibility judging for the design track. So I would probably reach out to look at some of the past examples of hackathons that I've done for accessibility and see if there's a checklist or something that I can, repurpose for that. But we would definitely need to have all the judges up to speed on, what to look for as far as accessibility goes. Other than that, just some supporting infrastructure. We have the Slack channel, we have the Discord thread. We can certainly utilize that. We can certainly create a little toolkit PDF or GitHub repo with some resources for folks that are interested in accessibility. And then I can do office hours as well. So, I could probably do 1 to 2 office hours per week during the designathon. But they might need to be at kind of odd hours, just depending on my work schedule. So this document is open. Everyone can access it and edit it, comment things out. If it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get something, but this is just the first draft, so take it that.
That's super awesome. Really appreciate it. Finally getting some proper structure around the accessibility efforts here.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mo. I just had 2 organizational thoughts to follow up and for a conversation.
This is going to be the most detailed, put together accessibility that we've ever had. This is very, very exciting because the last 2 years, I'm not saying that what we did was not great, but we just tried our best. But we can now use this as a template to think about other accessibility days. So I'm excited. And my question would be, there's some dates that you put in there, Jason, and that's super helpful because I think now we need to be thinking about the structure of the designathon in terms of days as well, which I think Christoph will come to. So if we have those dates, we can think about where everything fits in the bigger picture. So that's just if it fits in, how it fits in, and logistics is just what I'm thinking.
Yeah. In the main planning document on the left, I created tabs on desktop at least. There's a new tab called schedule where I copied the schedule over, and any date that I could find, I put in there. So that gives us a little bit of an overview. There are 2 thoughts that I had, and so I was also thinking about the idea of workshops. So it's great to have. It would be great if we had, and I think I put this in the Designathon document too. So first we could have an intro workshop for people who just need to find teams or so, who just, that have a hard time getting started with ideas. Then we could have one on resources for designers, where you go into Design Guide. Well, maybe you want to do one on research. I also reached out in November. I talked to the PenPod community organizer, and he said to let him know next time we organize something like a hackathon or so. So maybe the PenPod team wants to do something, or user testing, or helping them get ready for presentation. Like there are all kinds of things that we could do to, tie in a bit of education around various topics. But as I was thinking about how PenPod could tie in, I was thinking, well, maybe they could have maybe they could sponsor a prize that's like best use of PenPod. then that made me
Mhm.
think, well, maybe there could be, like Jason, you already hinted at, best, most accessible design or something like that. So if our price structure is not like best, second best, third best, but it is, best use of technology of Bitcoin integration, most innovative, best
Mhm.
accessibility, best use of this or that, then we can spread the whatever amount we're going to have in the end a little bit,
Mhm.
and people could really try to focus on something, and it would allow to draw people maybe into areas that are maybe get less attention sometimes. So I think just from the top level idea, like, can we tie this all together somehow? So where accessibility is not just one workshop, and most people are going to ignore it as usual, but
Yeah.
it's a proper track, and it's going to get a
Exactly.
reward just like everything else,
Exactly.
on the same level as like cool Bitcoin tech or whatever.
Fully agree. Fully agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The past hackathons where we've incorporated accessibility, that has been one of the things that has made them successful. I think is allowing these different tracks and allowing some crossover between the tracks. Right, you might be able to win two prizes, right?
True.
For accessibility and design. So,
I was one of the Hack Day judges at BTC in Florianopolis, where Alex, who's helping organize the things with you, Jason, he was also helping as one of the organizers there. And that goes with the same idea that Christoph said of having these tracks. I'll see if I can look it up. Maybe we can learn something from that Excel spreadsheet. It's just a spreadsheet with criteria. I mean, yeah. I'll see if I can look it up.
Awesome. Yeah, and
Yeah,
maybe that
so-
helps some sponsors. Like maybe the ARC people want to sponsor something. So it's just like a very simple structure. Right? Okay,
Yeah.
that would be awesome. And the other thing that I'm not quite sure on is the relationship between the BTC hackathon and our designathon. Like, how can, if they're going to have their own prizes and timeline and everything else, and ours, we have our own prizes and it's much longer, then how can
Yeah.
how can those two things come together in some way?
Yeah, I mean, I think they could be, separate separate hackathons, right? I mean, we have a hackathon and a designathon, right? You can win an accessibility prize in the hackathon, or you can do the long haul designathon and win an accessibility prize there as well, right?
Yeah.
That was my initial thought, at least.
So basically, just keep those tracks separate, and maybe just have overlap with some workshop or calls.
Exactly.
Or yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, there was also, Eric's already gone, but they wanted to have an eCash design contest. So maybe that's a whole other track in itself.
That would be cool.
So we basically end up with a lot of really more unique tracks overall if we take that approach. Okay, what else?
Did everyone see the latest hack that
Um,
Callie did for iOS?
The NFC thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Question. Should these tracks be tied to like organizations whereby we get funding? For example, what Christoph was saying about NPOT. So should we like have tracks that are tailored to organizations like, let's say, HRF, Trust, and all of that, or it should just be general tracks like, let's say, best lightning idea, best real estate idea? How do we intend to go about the tracks?
So I think so we have the Bitcoin Design Foundation that could provide some funding, which did not exist at the time of the last designathon, and we had to kind of go begging, and we were really kind of surprised. Now I think maybe there's a way that the Design Foundation can provide kind of the main, like a base set of prices, and then maybe those sponsors or partners want to come in and then do those tracks that are unique to whatever they're doing. like
Yeah.
Penpot or so. Or maybe Penpot wants to do the accessibility one or so. I don't know. Maybe there's some overlap, but I think we should assume that the foundation covers something, and then if we're lucky, right, then we can get some partners in to also sponsor stuff. And the interesting thing last time was that we got a lot of different stuff. There was a hardware wallet, and there were a bunch of T-shirts and other swag. So it wasn't just money, but the sponsors actually almost preferred giving things. And there was an argument that it's a little bit more meaningful to get a thing, a product, rather than just pure money. So that was an interesting thing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we just have to kind of do our best to attract sponsors and see what we end up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can also say, hey, the Bitcoin Design Foundation is giving 100 USD. Who wants to match fund this? That's also a nice way of, we can do a whole marketing campaign on match funding for all of the different. So if we decide on the tracks, let's say we decide on 5 tracks, and then we can even just do, a certain amount for each track, and then we just do social media match funding. Who wants to fund it? Yeah. See who comes our way.
Yeah, I have no idea how much. What are the prices for like the BTC plus one? How much do they give?
I remember as Bitcoin Design Foundation, like this was super last minute. So I feel like they had 3,000 USD for the main first prize, and then it kind of trickled down. I don't remember what the others were, but then for the mini tracks, they were smaller. So like for the smaller tracks, which was design was one of the smaller tracks, we donated 100 USD, and then there were other smaller tracks that got 200 USD. But then there was a main prize of 3,000 for the main. I don't know what second was and what third was. No idea.
Okay, it sounds like we're aligned here on kind of our approach, and then we can start sorting out the details, which we'll have to, do the write up for the website. I do think last time we also, I think we created a document for sponsors to. And I want to say that we also put that in the GitHub doc. There was.
It was like sponsors following through. Yeah.
Sponsorship PDF. Call for sponsors.
Oh, perfect.
Will be judged on 6 criteria. Yeah, so I think you decided that one, Rob.
I have no idea. It kind of feels familiar to me, so I think I did.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that's we made that last time for to attract sponsors.
Yep, we can do that again, and then we can do some social media things, and we can let them know that they're the tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the reason was that we started contacting people, and they're like, "How does it work?" Yeah, and then we just decided to come up with this flyer, or John's even pushed us to do it.
So it feels like we need to come up with a track ideas, because it feels that we
take a look at the main document. I try to start this somewhere here under prizes. There's a tracks category ideas. So if Jason, could you stop sharing your screen? So if I am bigger on your screen now, then you can see it in the background here. So yeah, feel free to add on to that.
This is fun.
So the top ones, those are the judging categories that we used last time. So the judges, they each got a Google Doc with those categories and explanations how to think about them, and then the project names, and they had to go in and assign numbers, and then they got automatically summarized, and that's those final numbers then what were put into a separate sheet, and then prizes were awarded accordingly. But yeah,
that open design, transparent, good collaboration. The transparent one open is going to be very tricky, because last year, like everyone just had their heads down and it was like no one was doing any work. So we were like, what? And then just all of a sudden on the final day, like 20 people showed up. Like, here we are. We have these cool things we've been working on. So these are good categories.
Yeah, we were freaking out initially. Okay, I also try to do a little bit of a to-do list down there. If you have anything,
Yeah, I will add one thing to the to-do list is create social
vote
media posts.
on-
And so this is more the what is it? Sorry. Marketing angle. Yeah, promotion. Yeah, there we go. So design sponsorship with categories. Yeah, but that's only once the design direction is finalized. Yeah. Cool.
Okay, and looking at our schedule. So let's see. So if we by next week, we'll start promoting it 2 or 3 times next week or so, just talking about different aspects of it. And then next week, I basically need to get the website restyled and get this idea submission thing done, where people can go in. And I think we had an Airtable form that said, you can submit ideas for the design-a-thon or so. And then it was title, description. And I think people could say, yes, I want to participate, or no, I don't want to participate. And then those got all tracked in our Airtable, and we kind of linked the tables together, so we had a list of participants.
Yeah.
So there was basically a form that we linked people out to gather that information.
I'm just going to start a new category because actually, while I was doing the copy website, there was another thing that came up. I don't know if you remember, but we created this Google document last year for the participants, telling them this is what you can expect, this is what's happening. More like practical side, linking them to resources and things. So that's something that's further down the line. But just before it kicks off, we provided them with this resource document. I think we even just pinned it to the top of the channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to just put that in the to-dos then?
Yep.
So we can just start prepping all these documents and such. Awesome. It's gonna be a wild mix, but I think it was the same thing last time too. I do hope we get a whole bunch of different creative ideas. I do sometimes wonder if it isn't good if some of the people that are really core that spend all their days on this stuff, if they kind of seed some ideas that might be important, but just not obviously important to people who spend less time in the field. I don't know. Yeah, cool. What else? What else should we talk about?
I don't know. Nothing else is coming. We're probably going to realize that we're forgetting some things as we go along, like as we get deeper into it, because, there'll be like announcements, coming up. And
yeah, I mean, each aspect of these, right? You can think about, okay, how are we going to get our judges? What are the steps involved in that? How are we going to get our sponsors? What are the steps involved in that? Then you can think through social media. What is our cadence there? Can I link it right out? Like each of those things you can dig in and just start writing out 1,000 to-dos and all of this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and we're going to get there one thing at a time, right? The important thing is that we kind of know in which order kind of the important things need to be done. Right now it's getting our basics up, getting the word out, having our style, having the big structure in place, and then we start filling things in every week as it becomes more priority, I would say. But yeah, feel free to just take things on and do things and make them happen.
Yep.
So Jason, for BDC++ and ABDC, what type should we kind of
So I need to
Discord chat
Alex
or something? I don't know. Yeah.
and confirm with him that we want to do that. We want to go ahead and do this, right? And talk a little bit more about how we want to structure the prizes and things like that. And then also I need to reach out to Sahil already, but I need to talk to Future Paul. He's the one who organizes the design crits at ABDC. But I think Sahil said that he would be interested. So I'll just reach out to both of them, confirm that we're interested, we want to go that route, and start talking about some of the details there.
Awesome. Yeah, and so last time we had this kind of commingle section that basically said this is also happening. So we were linking out to, I mean, we didn't do anything with TabConf except Stephen was organizing it. And I don't think we did anything with Bitcoin Amps, but it was like cross promotion, right? So we can definitely cross promote things in various directions. And you have a lot of people in Austin, right?
Oh, we do. We have a ton.
Lots of developers also.
Well.
Sorry?
Yeah. The design community is growing as well.
God, I'm jealous.
Yeah, ABDC usually has about like 30 people, so pretty good meetup.
Awesome. Okay, cool then. Should we wrap it up? Anything else? Should we chat online?
Let's wrap it.
Very good progress. Yep. Awesome. I can feel it coming together. Austin, Texas FOMO. Okay. All right, cool. I'll stop the recording now.